Hi, Christopher Jansen here. I promise you to make a short presentation video about sales core reluctance. And sales core reluctance is just a small part, but so important in sales. So you need to address it somewhere in your training or your process if you're going to get results from the salespeople. The research is extensive and we don't have time to go through everything, but I have some small slides just to show you what it's all about. So just let me share my screen. So here we are. So for the first, what is sales call reluctance? It's actually all the feelings, thoughts, and behaviors people have that make you hesitate or have an inner conflict to initiate contact with that person that would be important for you. In sales, of course, it's prospects, clients, customers, whatever you call them. In management, it could be other colleagues or, people that are important for your success in your career. But we're talking sales here, nothing more. So then it's the hesitation or inner conflict to initiate contact with prospective buyers and existing clients. So that was all about. And it started over 40 years ago with two researchers, George and Shannon, and George W. Daly and Shannon Goodson. Both come from the American Marines and was researching fear in soldiers. Actually, people try to kill them, so you can understand they're scared. But how do we handle that? How do they cope with it in situations? George also had a friend who was a salesperson. He said, I'm scared of phoning, booking meetings. And he said, you shouldn't be scared. You're a salesperson. Yeah, but I know more than me that have the same problem. So he got interested and went into the research to find out what is going on here. And the model he found is quite simple to understand. It is actually, he got interested in why do some salespeople do more contacts than others? What's behind it? We all know that the most successful salespeople, they prospect more, they have more clients to sell to. That's why they sell more than others. So it's about activity. Yeah, there's a lot of other things that I know as well, because I've been in sales 40 years, like some of you guys, and some of you maybe even longer. It's complex, it's a lot of things, but you do need to take contact with a prospect or a client or nothing will happen. So why do some people take more contacts than others? They got interested in that. And the first part they found was actually motivation. Yeah, still one of the most important things. Motivation, we actually, to measure it, we define it differently as the fuel you have in the tank, the physical energy for you as a person. Do you have enough to do the job every day, to make the calls, the visits, if your field sales, to contact people, whether it's phone, online, email, everything we do to initiate contact with prospective buyers. So important, so important. Do you have the energy for the whole day? And of course, how fast can you refill? That energy should be used to reach our goals. Why do I have this sales job? Where is the company goals, the targets I need to hit to actually reach my quota, my budget, or whatever you call it? So important. Do I have a way there, the strategy? All this you all know. And I need to do this every day. That's the funnel, the sales ladder, or whatever you call it. Depends on what method you're working with. So this is important. That means the most two important things is that people have a lot of fuel so they can work the whole day and do the sales job they need to do. And that's what we call motivation can do. and they also want to do. They need to know what to do and also want to do it so they can move all their fuel into doing. Okay, easy to understand. Other tests measure that too. I think we measured a little bit different. For us, motivation is, in leadership, motivation is different for everyone. But in our word, a motivated person will be someone who has the fuel and know what to do. And they connect the fuel with doing. So if a person are not motivated, I'm always thinking is that they don't want to do it or they doesn't have the fuel to do it. That's important. And when the energy is going over, we can get to leakage, and we call it emotional short circuit. And today it's 16 different types. It stands 12 here, so I need to change that. But it's 16 different types today in the new test, FSA. The last 10 years, we found 4 more that we actually measure in our new test. Okay, we actually tested over 1 million people in the world. We are closing to 1.5. And 85% of all salespeople in the test show parts in different level of call reluctance in their test. That cost them business. Some were little business, so they're not even aware of it. Some people, a lot of business, so they are actually very low performers. But 85%, there's only 15% actually who doesn't have any problem at all. So this is a common problem. And you hear it as excuses, you hear it as avoidance, or people procrastinate instead of making the contact they need to do or ask for the order. People behind the scientific advisory board is actually, you see in the bottom, you have Shannon Goodson here and George Daly. Both are very high trained psychologists, clinical psychologists who went into this. But they also have a science board that stand of Ira Bernstein, one of the most well-known psychometrics in the world, specialized in that. They also had, as you can see here, Professor Douglas N. Jackson. Jackson was the one who wrote in all the books in research about testing and psychometry. He's, sorry to say, dead today. And I don't know if they have a new one after him. But he has been there from the beginning in the research. Clive Fetcher, also a very distinguished person. So there are a scientific board behind the two researchers. So this is actually really, really good stuff. APA, the Association of American Psychologists, says this test and the research are awesome if you're in sales. So I do believe them. They know more about this field than I do, so I do believe them. I believe the people who constructed my car outside, so they are also very bright. I can't build a car, but I can drive it. This is a comparison we did of close to 5,000 people between the different scale, between low performers, moderate, and high performers. So I will just pick out some really good details from this one. Maybe Mark, you understand this if you listen on this one because you have been through my training. So motivation, how important is that? Yeah, that is one of the top factors. Look, low performance in our test is 0 to 100. And as you see, the more you sell, the more motivation you have, the more fuel you have in your tank. So that is so important. So what do sales manager, the leadership in companies do so their salespeople have a lot of petrol in the tank every morning? Or they doing something in leadership that actually reduce it. So it's so important to create a culture that actually get people that they get fueled all the day. As you remember, the motivation should be used to goal orientation. I want to do. And I don't think anyone are amazed to work with salespeople. The more goal-oriented you are, the more you want to do, the more you sell. But you do need to have the petrol in the tank as well. And when we look on procrastination, how much of this energy, the motivation, remember the M and the G and the procrastination that made sales call reluctance in 16 types? So how much of this energy is going to procrastinate instead of doing the goals? And we have the same. The less energy they're going to fear, the more they sell. Isn't that very logical? But I have never seen a test measuring this before, but it's very logical. And the two most important of the 16 type is generalized all industries. In some industries can be completely other types that are more important, but generalize all industry over 1 million salespeople. We found yielder, one of the most common types, is the most costly. And you see, of course, here, the less yielder behavior I have, the more I sell. Yielder is being a fear of being too pushy, to be too aggressive. So they are waiting for the right moment. And some of them are still waiting today. And still, telephobia is important. If you can't use the phone to follow up, to talk to clients, book meetings through it, whether you book it online or in real world, doesn't matter. Telephobia is important. The less telephobia you have, the more you sell. Isn't that very clear? So how do we measure that? Yeah, we have a test, close to 280 questions. It's like the car. The car comes into the mechanics. You plug in the computer to the car say, what's the problem? We can't really do that with people. So we need to ask them a lot of questions instead. And when they have asked all these questions, we actually have a result that tells what is going on in the head of the person when it's come to sales. And then we have all these scales. Here up where you see my cursor is moving, you have the break, how much of the energy that going to procrastinate. And if they are in the red area, which this person isn't, what type of call reluctance would they have in the red area? This is just details. But we do measure all these 16 types. We also, as you see, measure motivation, how much fuel have you in the tank. This person have a lot of petrol in the tank. Also, if you look on go level, you want to perform. As you saw in the picture before, also no energy going into procrastination. So this is actually a top salesperson. So if I just summarize this, all of us out there that are sales trainers, we can actually help salespeople with this as well. Not only with sales technique, models, different way how to behave and so on, but we can also help salespeople reduce their inner fear of actually taking contact with important people. And if we help people get rid of that, they will sell more, especially if they have a good sales training as well. Also, when you recruit salespeople, if you can recruit people that are highly more motivated, more goal-focused, and have less energy going into coping or procrastinating, instead, they will take the contacts. Of course, they will sell much, much better. And if they have the right sales training for the industry, for the client they're meeting, it can't be otherwise than a success. So when you look at your sales training, do you really get the result from the salespeople you want? Do they perform as good as they should after your training? If not, it could be a call reluctance problem. So you need to just add this to your sales training as well. And the way you help people get rid of it is actually cognitive behavior therapy. The same you use when people are afraid of dogs, elevators, flying. We use the same techniques, but different techniques for different types. Because if you do wrong, you can make it worse. They actually get more scared. So we need to do it right as professional trainers. That's why you need the training. And it's a 4-day training. So you learn not only to interpret the test, but also learn the method, what's behind it, to actually help people get rid of it so they can perform much, much better in their job. That also means you need to start with yourself. If you can't start working with yourself, you will have hard to actually help other salespeople to do this. Because something I learned, if salespeople are very quick to get into things, and they see if you're not working with yourself, they will be aware of that. Sorry for that. So that's all. It's nothing more about it. It's really fantastic, good research behind it. It's proven. It's not perfect. What is in this world? And I do think most of you that are really good sales trainers can handle this as well. And you will have another product and also can help even more salespeople succeed. If you want into more detail discussion about this, you're most welcome to contact me at Christer with a CH at confidentapproach.com, or just go in on my webpage, confidentapproach.com, and send me a message, and I will call you up, or we'll book an online meeting. Whatever you think is good. Take care now, and bye-bye.